Okay, I'm going to speak about how I helped a professional rugby team win 26 games out of 26 games. Now think about that. Winning 26 out of 26 takes some doing, whether that's in professional or amateur sport. As so many things can go wrong, not only on game day, but within the training week itself, from injuries and everything else that goes along with professional sport. And in this particular season, I'm just about to talk about, lasted 11 months with pre-season. That's a long time to be on your A game in every training session, in every game, every meeting you have to go to, etc. Now, the team that I'm going to speak about is Worcester Warriors. By the time I got to Worcester Warriors in 2003, they were in the championship of the English League, which is a division below what is known as the Premiership, which is what they've been trying to get promoted to for several years before I arrived on the scene. Now, previously to that, I had worked with an incredibly talented Welsh rugby team, which was Swansea RFC, now for 5 years, and they were stacked with international rugby players, British and Irish Lions, and we had an incredibly successful period, winning multiple league titles and cup finals, as you would expect with such a group of talented players and coaches. Then I finished with Swansea in 2002 as I didn't agree with the new coach who had just come in. He was an absolutely great guy, but unfortunately, in my opinion, he massively overtrained the players and they went on and had their worst season ever. And I don't mind losing. That's part of life. That's part of the game. But when you have no control over the environment, which I had previously, that's the time to move on, which I did. Okay, so this then also allowed me to have a brief period from 2002 to 2003, where I also went around the world and interned with some of the best strength Olympic weightlifting coaches, speed coaches in the world. But the one who had the greatest influence on me as a strength coach in particular was undoubtedly the late Louis Simmons, who was the founder of Westside Barbell, which at that time was the world's strongest gym. And I had studied Westside methods for 2 years before I got there and fully understand the way of their training methods. And when I applied Westside to the Worcester players, to say I saw miracles happening in their strength and power levels, along with their levels of belief, is an absolute understatement. Now, the interesting thing about Worcester, when I arrived, it was one of the only full-time teams in the championship, apart from one other team. Now, all the other teams were what was known as semi-professional, so meaning they only trained part-time. Most of them would have had to go out and done proper jobs, so they couldn't train full-time like we could. And also this means they also didn't have the funds to recruit the best players outside of the Premiership. Now, the team that I went to, Worcester, they were funded by an exceptionally wealthy businessman. Money was absolutely no problem. And they also had great training facilities, some of the best in the country, even within the Premiership. So when I arrived at Worcester then, they pretty much had the same players they'd previously had, apart from the usual coming and going of a few players. I believe the head coach and the assistant coach had been there for at least 3 years before I got there, may have been longer. So the point I'm trying to make here is not a lot had changed in personnel apart from me, and I 100% don't want this video to come across that I'm trying to take all the credit for the 26 out of 26 wins. My ego, trust me, is not that big, and it was absolutely 100% team effort. But what I do want to say is, what contribution did I possibly make to this team to win 26 out of 26, which had never been done also before or since in that league, and that is now going back 22 years ago. Now, the biggest contribution for me was to change the environment, also to change the discipline and the mentality of the players, and ensure that they took self-responsibility. It's very easy to hide, especially in a team environment, and I ensured that this wouldn't happen, not on my watch. Okay, so this started then, first of all, for me in the gym. I created Westside, literally brought in a number of specialized equipment, but also the environment, and ensured that once that player had entered that gym to train, if they didn't give each session 100%, you will be punished along with the whole team. I guarantee you that. So I could sense in a room full of players, it's almost like a sixth sense, if someone was taking the piss or just going through the motions, I would not allow that. And if this was the case, I used to have 4 broken down cars outside the gym, and I would make the whole team push. If one player wasn't doing it, I'd make the whole team, I'd punish the whole team. We'd push these cars around the abundance of rugby fields we have as explosively as we could. I also knew that car pushing, especially for rugby, would have a significant carryover also to their conditioning. And I also want to really make this point clear. I never did any training session that couldn't be transferred onto the rugby field. I was never into training for the sake of training. Our field conditioning sessions, along with the gym sessions, I can genuinely say were brutal. This created a discipline to get through the session without throwing the towel in. Also, a togetherness of the players, something I had learned as a very young infantry soldier during my training. The tougher the training environment, the greater the camaraderie, and also the respect amongst each other. And this will be crucial when times get difficult, as in the heat of battle of the games. So nothing great comes from the comfort zone. I also place huge emphasis on recovery. You can't train at 100% intensity without optimum recovery. And this is not only essential from a physical perspective, but also from a mental perspective. So the conclusion, train with a purpose, train with nothing less than 100% intensity, be disciplined, take responsibility of you, create a winning environment and mentality, and ensure optimum recovery. Thanks for listening.